Good morning, all. Welcome to the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. First and foremost, let me use this opportunity to acknowledge Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Mrs. Colette Roberts-Risden, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, Ms. Diane Black, Deputy Financial Secretary at the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, Ms. Barbara Scott, Deputy Director General at the Planning Institute of Jamaica, Mrs. Audrey Dear Williams, Chief Technical Director at the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, Ms. Lilia Burunchuk, World Bank Director for the Caribbean Region, Dr. Jaime Saavedra, World Bank Human Development Regional Director for the Latin America and Caribbean Region, representatives of the ministries, departments, and agencies, other members of the World Bank's team, distinguished members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, again, good morning. I'm Giovanni Campbell, and on behalf of the Government of Jamaica and the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, it is my distinct pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all present and to those joining us live on YouTube and other stream platforms for today's visibility ceremony for the Jamaica Social Protection for Increased Resilience and Opportunities SPIRIT project. The SPIRIT project is being supported by a loan from the World Bank and will aim to expand Jamaica's coverage of social protection and fortify the country's social protection delivery system, particularly our capacity to respond to economic shocks. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker. Please join me in welcoming Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark to deliver his opening remarks. Following Minister Clark, we'll hear from Ms. Lilia Burunchuk, World Bank Director for the Caribbean Region, followed by the Human Development Regional Director for the Latin America and Caribbean Region, Dr. Jaime Saavedra. Minister Clark, your remarks, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, Head of the World Bank in the Caribbean, Lilia, visiting from the World Bank, from DC, in charge of this area, members of the PIOJ and the Ministry of Finance and members of the media, good morning. And so you need some dumpling. I am so happy to be at this stage where we're signing this agreement, or the visibility ceremony for the agreement. Jamaica has a well-respected social protection apparatus. Jamaica established a conditional cash transfer system in the early 2000s, which has gained, under the management of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, a lot of positive critical attention. The government, notwithstanding that, saw that there were gaps in our social protection framework, and a few years ago we introduced, with the assistance of the World Bank, the social pension, which provides an income to elderly persons who have no other source of income. And as at today, there are approximately 14,000 Jamaicans receiving a social pension, and that did not exist before. The social protection framework consists of social insurance, social assistance, and labor market programs. And in spite of the fact that we've introduced a social pension, we have the PATH program, we have labor market programs, COVID demonstrated that a significant gap exists. And that gap exists in response to economic shocks that make people unemployed. During COVID, the government, within a matter of weeks, had to cobble together resources, taxpayer funds, to make available to persons who were who we didn't know how long they would be unemployed at the time. And we had our unemployment program. We called it Set Cash and Best Cash. And it worked incredibly well for the purposes for which it was established. It became very clear in that moment that Jamaica needed to have an unemployment insurance scheme that can provide resources in response to temporary disruptions in employment. And though we have redundancy, that's an unfunded obligation, which means that at the time that firms are called upon to make those payments, we have found in our experience as a country that the firms may not be in a position to make the payments at that time. And so it's an imperfect system. Under unemployment insurance, it will allow Jamaicans who have lost their jobs due to no fault of theirs to, on a temporary basis, receive a stipend from the government calculated on a basis that is referred to their previous income and a cap, so to speak. So we're very pleased to be working with the World Bank on this through the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. There are parameters that we're going to have to finalize in consultation, and we have sort of given, in my budget presentation, sort of given an overview of some of the considerations, and we might well need to accompany this reform with further reform on our statutory deductions, consolidation of our statutory deductions to ensure that we can do this in the most efficient way for the vast majority of the population. But the message is the government is focused on increasing on improving the social safety net and for providing for the most vulnerable members of our society, including those who may not be vulnerable today, but who can become vulnerable because they become unemployed. And forgive me, just to speak about how families that are stable families, doing well, can be completely destabilized with impact on children and on elderly persons who they support due to incidents of unemployment. And the social stability of our society will be stronger when we have a mechanism that provides a counter-cyclical antidote to the setbacks that come from unemployment insurance. So welcome this morning, and I have another bite at the apple later on, so I'm going to turn over back to the MC for the rest of the ceremony to continue.
All right, thank you, Minister Clark, and certainly thank you for underscoring the importance of the SPIR project in our Jamaican economy. We'll now invite Ms. Lilia Burnchuk, World Bank Director for the Caribbean region, to share her remarks. Ms. Burnchuk, your remarks, please.
Honorable Minister Clark, Permanent Secretary Roberts Brisden, distinguished guests and colleagues, members of the media, those who joined us on social media, good morning. It is my really great pleasure to join Minister Clark and PS Roberts Brisden to announce the significant milestone that is the signing of the Jamaican Social Protection for Increased Resilience and Opportunity Project. We call it SPIRO. We love acronyms at the World Bank. Protection for increased resilience is very important for the citizens, in particular for the vulnerable citizens. And I'm quite pleased to have today my colleague here, Jaime Saavedra, the World Bank's Director for Human Development in Latin America and the Caribbean, with us for today's occasion, and who has worked throughout the region on setting systems that help protect the vulnerable throughout the region and throughout the world. Our gathering here today signals the start of the important project that has been designed and approved by the bank and is being signed for the government of Jamaica, actually for the country. It will support some transformative changes in Jamaican social protection system, and I wish to actually express my gratitude to the government of Jamaica for their support and dedication and commitment during the preparation phase of the project, the Ministry of Finance and Public Service, Planning Institute of Jamaica, and especially the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. They have all contributed in critical ways to conceptualizing and shaping the project prior to its approval by the World Bank's Board of Directors. The signing of this project agreement further strengthens the partnership between the World Bank and Jamaica. It is actually a partnership that is built on trust and shared goals. It includes a commitment to improve the lives of the Jamaican people, especially the vulnerable households and workers, as mentioned by Minister Clark, and by supporting better access to enhance social protection. Importantly, we also thank other entities of the government of Jamaica, such as eGov, for their great collaboration during the preparation process. The project's development objective, which is to expand the coverage of social protection in Jamaica and to strengthen its social protection delivery system, particularly its capacity to respond to shocks, demonstrates our collective vision to improve the lives of the most vulnerable by increasing resilience and economic opportunities. When our team began preparing this project, the government's request to us was very, very clear. Support the government of Jamaica in addressing the fundamental gaps in the social protection system. And these gaps, as mentioned by Minister Clark, have been very clearly exposed during the COVID-19 pandemic. And we seek to jointly to increase the resilience to future shocks and improve the economic opportunities in a sustainable manner. We are therefore pleased to be embarking upon a project which expands the social protection coverage by supporting the government's efforts in establishing an unemployment insurance and scaling up the provision of enhanced public employment services. We're especially looking forward to the strengthening of the social protection delivery systems, which includes the development of integrated, interoperable, and risk-informed social protection information system that will revolutionize the implementation of social assistance program in Jamaica. As a result of these activities, 700,000 people, half of them being women, will reach better protection services. Jamaican workers and vulnerable job seekers, such as people with disabilities and young people, will benefit from expanded social protection coverage and enhanced employment services. By providing the social protection sector and by prioritizing support to this sector, and by prioritizing this sector, we're investing in the people that need the support of the government and who need it the most, by increasing their capacity to absorb, respond, and recover from shocks, including the ones related to climate change. The World Bank looks forward to this continued, very productive partnership in support of the government of Jamaica, strives to support the most vulnerable people and to improve their opportunities and their future quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you, Country Director. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please join me in inviting Dr. Jaime Saavedra, World Bank Human Development Regional Director for the Latin America and Caribbean region, to deliver remarks on behalf of the World Bank.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mr. Minister Clark, Permanent Secretary Roberts, resident colleagues, members of the media. It's really a pleasure to be here. I would like to first to echo Lilia's remarks and extend my heartfelt congratulations to the government of Jamaica, the staff of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, and the Planning Institute of Jamaica, have shown exceptional dedication. Your commitment to enhancing the efficacy and reach of social protection interventions is really a testament to your resolve to improve well-being of the people in Jamaica. And I would also like to thank our World Bank team for their hard work and dedication to making a reality a project that supports a comprehensive and really ambitious package of reforms for Jamaica. As we were discussing with the Permanent Secretary, Jamaica, together with Mexico, Brazil, and Chile, were the pioneers in Latin America in the early 2000s in implementing cash transfer programs. And the bank has been supporting the PATH program here in Jamaica since that time. Our first operation in 2001 was the Jamaica Social Safety Nets project. And today, I mean, this is a great occasion to reiterate our commitment for this long-standing partnership. But as the Minister was saying, the pandemic was a stark reminder that we live in a very volatile world, volatility that is exacerbated by the climate crisis, which makes the planet, and particularly the Caribbean, more vulnerable to shocks. So it is amidst these challenges that now Jamaica is now moving up the development ladder by broadening the scope of its social protection policies to make them more effective and capable of protecting Jamaicans from job-related shocks to climate change shocks. And in that sense, the Spiral project that the government is now launching with the support of the World Bank is really broadening the social protection agenda in Jamaica with a set of comprehensive policies. So we have the CCT, right, which is currently being improved to be more adaptive and efficient, will now be, as the Minister was saying, complemented by a parallel protection layer and an employment insurance mechanism that can smooth consumption of people in the event of labor shocks, and with much lower fiscal impact than what a CCT has. But in addition, all social protection programs now will operate more efficiently through an integrated social protection information system. So that's really an integrated platform that we're looking at. Now, the establishment of the unemployment insurance program will position Jamaica together with Chile, Uruguay, and Brazil as the few LAC countries who use sophisticated insurance mechanisms. Merit parameters still will have to be defined. Those are not easy programs, but it's a critical instrument that is present in most OECD countries. Now, on the other hand, the initiatives of enhancing employment services and developing a multi-sector, multi-program, interoperable social protection information system is an effort that really is critical for all Caribbean countries, and while many countries are underinvesting. In that regard, Jamaica's leadership will serve as a model for neighboring countries. And I want to mention one additional thing, which is that the commitment of the government of Jamaica to enhance the social protection system rightfully complements other government strategies, for instance, in the education sector. Let me give you two examples. On one hand, the employment services will provide information about vacancies, about which are the in-demand occupations, what are the skills that firms are looking for, what are the training needs, and this will contribute to informed decision-making of people, firms, and education institutions. Employment services will also facilitate school-to-work transitions, focusing on vulnerable youth, which is a challenge not only for Jamaica, but for the whole Latin America and the Caribbean region. And second, this social protection information system and the education management information systems, which we are working with the Ministry of Education and Youth, will be made interoperable. And that's absolutely critical. The education information system can then electronically validate school attendance for PATH beneficiaries registered in the social protection information system. So that sounds like something a bit confusing, but actually that interoperability is absolutely essential. It's something that we don't see in many social programs across the region. So just let me say that in closing, that the World Bank team is resolutely committed to this long-standing partnership with the government of Jamaica. The nation's strong political commitment to refining its social protection services and implementing a broad package of reforms is commendable, and in that regard, that political commitment, joined together with an evidence-based approach in terms of policy making and policy design, stands as an example in Latin America and the Caribbean. I'm confident that this Spiral project will empower the government to equip Jamaican households and communities with the necessary tools to withstand climatic, health, economic shocks, and fostering a robust and resilient social protection system. And we're honored, Minister, to accompany the government of Jamaica in this journey. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Sabedwa. And thank you certainly for highlighting how this project, through partnership with the World Bank, will broaden our social protection system, especially through the implementation of unemployment insurance. At this juncture, I'd like to invite Permanent Secretary Roberts Risden to make remarks on behalf of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. Permanent Secretary, your remarks, please.
Good morning, everyone. Let me acknowledge the Honorable Nigel Clark, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Country Director, Regional Director, I gather, Lilia, and I will not try to pronounce the last names, and Dr. Jamie, other representatives from the World Bank, the Planning Institute of Jamaica, Ministry of Finance, and my team in particular from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. It's certainly good to be here this morning after quite a number of years working on this project. But our relationship with the World Bank in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security started from 2000 with the first project, which was 40 million for the reform of the social safety net system in Jamaica. And so a lot of what we have now in terms of PATH and some of the other spin-offs that have taken place since has been through the support of the World Bank. So, Minister, you mentioned a few of them. Since PATH, we have implemented a number of, should I say, related support programs. We have the Steps to Work, the Back to School support for PATH children, tertiary bursaries, and of course, most recently, the social pension. So we in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, we're very grateful for the support from the World Bank. We look forward in particular to the finalization in terms of the design of the unemployment insurance benefit and the other labor market programs that will be financed through this project. We know that at the end of the day, we need to build a strong and resilient Jamaica and a strong and resilient social protection system. So far, we are ready, and I want to just pay special thanks to the team from the ministry led by Audrey Dare-Williams, or CTD, and the team that worked, I know, tirelessly, and at some times were a little unsure of the next step because things have changed in terms of the processes and how you bring up a project to fruition now. So we're ready in the ministry to implement. We have already completed some of the legal covenants required to make this project effective. And yeah, we look forward to the continued support. The technical support from the World Bank is always very helpful and significant. And Minister, already we have gotten a commitment from the World Bank to assist us in reviewing. You will be aware that we are currently doing a review of the PATH program, and we have a commitment from the bank to assist us in terms of reviewing the selection methodology to ensure that it continues to be relevant and satisfy the needs. So thank you, my team, the World Bank, Planning Institute of Jamaica, and everyone who have worked over the last couple of years to bring this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Permanent Secretary Risden. Ladies and
Sorry,
gentlemen.
I should have apologized for my minister. My apology. Minister Pernell Charles should have been here. However, he is overseas in Geneva at the International Labour Organization conference this week. So I extend apologies on behalf of the minister. Thank you.
All right, thank you, PS, for the courtesies. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'll now move to invite Minister on behalf of the Government of Jamaica and Ms. Burunchuk on behalf of the World Bank to facilitate the signing of the loan agreement for the Spiro project. All right, thank you, Minister Clark and Ms. Burunchak. At this juncture, I'd like to reinvite Minister Clark to now make his concluding remarks as we bring today's visibility ceremony to a close. Minister Clark, over to you.
It just remains for me to reiterate our gratitude to our partners, the World Bank, who have been tremendous, and it would be remiss of me not to recognize that we got to this juncture through a feasibility study, and the feasibility study was undertaken, we had a technical group that was chaired by the PIOJ, and the Planning Institute, through that mechanism, would have engaged with stakeholders, with the Employers Federation, with the unions, with the private sector organization, and with agencies of government. So that feasibility study was informed by public sort of analysis and commentary, and very grateful to the PIOJ for leading that exercise. And so, you know, we measure before we go. And we're also grateful to the International Labour Organization, who led the feasibility study and who left with us a body of analytical work that has been useful. And now we look to the World Bank to help us with the implementation, to make sure that this can deliver what we know that it can. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Minister. My apologies. Thank you again, Mr. Clark. Ladies and gentlemen, let me thank you again for joining us for today's visibility ceremony as we lay foundation for advancement under the Jamaica Social Protection for Increased Resilience and Opportunities project. We look forward to the positive impacts that the Spiro project will undoubtedly and certainly have on the future of our country. Thanks once more to our viewers online and on the various streaming platforms. We draw our ceremony to a close for today. Pleasant morning all.